Hey everyone, this is Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. By now, you all know that there was another school shooting at Appalachian High School in Georgia, and there's not a lot that I can say about the school shooting. I mean, it's Oh, let me say this. There's not a lot that I can say that hasn't been said before. And what I mean by that, not about this story in particular, but just about these school shootings altogether. It was the usual suspects. We all know who the types of people that love to commit these types of crimes. And, everyone and stuff like this happens, everyone kind of sits back and says, "Oh, woe is me. What is we going to do about these school shootings?" But the thing is that this society doesn't want to do anything about these school shootings because of who the perpetrators are. Now, if there was a school shooting going on several times a year and it was the black community doing it, the entire black community would be demonized for that, right? There would be this drumbeat over and over again of what's wrong with black people because their kids are shooting each other at school, right? There'd be this whole idea that black culture is bad because we got some skanky females making terrible music. You know what I mean? Like it'd be all types of ridiculous stuff like that. Like the idiots like Thomas Sowell would be coming out talking about black subculture, and there's no black subculture anywhere else. That's why black kids do better in other countries or whatever. And there's a black subculture here, and that's why black people are doing so bad here in the United States. Like there would be all this nonsense if there was a school shooting going on all the time and it was all black kids doing it. But the fact that the vast majority are white males, then now it's a we throw up our hands and act like we don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know what we're going to do, right? When black people are the perpetrators of a crime, there seems to be a big call for just automatic punishment. You know, black people are criminalized just as a whole when it comes to something that they typically say that we do. But when it's something that their people do, you don't get this call for criminalization. You don't get this call for, us being for them to be watched and for them to be penalized and punished in the courts and put into prison. That just goes away. I mean, we all see the disparities when it comes to these drug charges. When they said black people were on crack, it was lock black people up, put them in prison for as long as possible. Anyone associated with it, put them in prison for as long as possible. White people snort cocaine, do methamphetamines, take fentanyl, take heroin, and it's all a call for, hey, we need to get some rehabs out here. We need to get these people help, and we need to talk to them in the schools about not doing these drugs. But with us, punishment, punishment, prison, prison. With them, it's rehab, understanding, and get them some help. You see what I'm saying? We even have to develop special drugs to help them to save their lives from overdosing. So you see, when it comes to us, it's constant punishment, and you know, it's push us even further down the ladder. But with them, they don't want to. They want to make sure that they don't get in any trouble for these things. But you see, what's even worse about this case and what really pissed me off about it was a lot of the propaganda that was put out there by these major news sources. You have these local news channels actually in Georgia who knew what they were doing when they were doing this, if you ask my humble opinion. But they're denying it now. But what they did was they posted a picture of one of the victims of this school shooting and made it seem as if he was the criminal, like he was the one that did the shooting. And they said the 14-year-old suspect has been arrested, and they posted a picture of one of the victims, a young black boy named Mason Scammerhorn. He was one of the victims. He was one of the people who was shot and killed by this psychopath, right? But they posted his picture and posted a caption above him saying he was the suspect, you see. So when they do stuff like that, they do stuff like that on purpose. There's no mistake when it comes to that. You can't get me to believe that you work for a news outlet and you don't know how to set up thumbnails, you don't know how to gather pictures and how to put captions on things when you're doing your headlines. You'll never get me to believe that. Because if little solo operations like myself know how to create a thumbnail, I'm kind of infamous online now for my thumbnails, right? People, if I know how to do that and I know how to create and get a reaction out of people for my thumbnails, then I know that these news outlets who not only have people working doing these things, but have people that are supposed to be editorial over them, checking before they put that stuff out, and web people as well working on their websites, I know that they know how to do these things properly. And the fact that they would do something as low and as scummy as this, as to make the victim seem like he is the criminal, that's horrific. Okay, and a lot of people, I saw a lot of people talking about this. I posted it on my Facebook, and I saw a lot of people talking about it, saying like, this news outlet is supposed to be black owned, but don't put it past these coons to do something like that too, because a lot of these coons, they're just chasing sensationalism. That's the game, especially when you're at some of these local news stations. Like they chase sensationalism, so they just put out anything. And the sad part is that, as the old adage goes, a lie goes around the world twice before the truth ever gets past the starting block. So this lie, making it seem like this black boy was the criminal, that went around and that got circulated, and other news sources picked that up, right? And people were thinking, and I even had people in my comments saying they thought it was a black boy that did the shooting. That didn't make sense to them. But now that it's been revealed and people got on that news site for doing that, thank you to some of my subs who went to that news channel and called them out for their racism. Thank you for doing that, because now the news channel is apologizing for doing that. They made it seem like it was just a mistake. BS. Okay, like I explained to you before, if little old me knows how to do a thumbnail to get a reaction out of you or to showcase a story, they definitely know how to do it. Okay, this is not something new. Okay, we all know how to do articles and thumbnails for articles and how to do captions for articles. It's trained into our minds now with social media. We all know how to do it. There's nothing new now. Okay, so for them to pretend that they didn't understand that's what they were putting out there, that's BS. We know what you were trying to do. You're scumbags for doing that. And if the Scammerhorn family sees that, they should sue your ass into oblivion for doing that. Okay, because that defamation of character, you're making it seem like their son who was murdered by this sick bastard, like he was the criminal, he was the suspect, and he was the shooter in this case, and not a victim, which is what he was. All right, and I'm going to be honest with you, if I was the father of young Mason, I would show up to that news organization and show out. Okay, because that's extremely disrespectful for my child to die, and then you paint him as the criminal and the perpetrator. So, and like I said, they make sure. So see, you should have known this was some bullshit, because when a white kid commits a crime, they try to hold on to their picture as long as possible. You notice that when a white kid commits a mass shooting. In fact, it's so ridiculous nowadays because there's so many mass shootings that a lot of times you don't even know what the child looked like that committed the crime until you go on social media. Maybe someone on social media found it and put it out there. These news sources hold on to it. See, they want to so-called, quote-unquote, protect a child's integrity when it's their children, but when it's ours, our children don't even do anything. Our children are victims of crimes like this boy Mason was, and they put him out there like he was the perpetrator. You see what I'm saying? So they don't even look out for our kids' integrity, but they make sure they look out for theirs. They make sure that they hide these white kids that commit these mass crimes. So they don't want you to put a face to the crime that's been going on here. They don't want you to always think of, well, even though we already know most of the time that it's usually a white male, right? That's this is my opinion why they took that show off of TV. What was it called? To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen. They took that off TV because the majority of the people getting caught were white males. They can't have the face of any type of predatory crime like that be white males. So that's why they also do the same thing for these school shooters. They make sure that these young white boys are protected and you don't see their face until, like I said, someone does some digging and find out what's really going on. Even now, we know this little bastard is the one that did the shooting, but they're still saying the suspect or the one suspected of shooting. Like we don't know who did it, right? So, I mean, you folks can let me know how you feel about this whole thing in the comments section. I very much love to hear your response and your feelings on this, especially with the fact of what they did to this black victim of this shooting. I think it's disgusting that they did that, and that news outlet should be held responsible for doing something like that. So, you folks, let me know how you feel about it, and make sure you let me know in the comments section. And this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.